This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you live and around the world on the Starcom radio network. Worldwide toll-free, 800-610-7035. My email address is onair@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our main website where you can listen to the X-Zone 724-365, www.xzoneradiotv.com. And don't forget, you can also use your cell phone or a regular phone to call in and listen to the show at 213-401-0080. My guest this hour, Exonation, is Jeffrey SEELMAN. He is an internationally recognized professional psychic, teacher, author, clearing expert, and exorcist, specializing in the clearing of individuals, homes, businesses, and psychic protection. Jeffrey is also an expert on haunting in homes and businesses, psychic ability, good ghosts such as spirit guides, curses, demonic possession, evil spirits, the relationship between emotional energies, and violence. Born with psychic abilities, a practitioner of transcendental meditation, Jeffrey uses his psychic skills to release negative emotional energies, banish negative and demonic spirits from individuals, homes, and businesses, dispel myths about the spirit world, and teach us how to protect ourselves and our property from the effects of negative emotional energy, negative and demonic spirits. His website is starclear.com, and joining me now is Jeffrey SEELMAN. And Jeffrey, welcome to the X-Zone.
Rob, thanks for having me back on the show. It's great to be here.
It's a great pleasure having you with us, and it seems that there is a lot of negativity out there in the world. So this is something I think that all our listeners around the world need to understand. The difference between, a negative spirit and negative forces, and who else but you to help us better understand this and how we can protect ourselves.
Thanks. I don't think that negative spirits and negative energy, negative forces are really responsible for all of its happening around the world right now. I think it's aggravating the situation, Rob. Essentially, I think that our communication systems, the internet, cable television, everything else also that people use, is a physical plane model for mental telepathy. And so we're experimenting with talking to each other on a very personal level, something we really haven't done since the invention of the telephone. And so with that comes a lot of problems. We're beginning to hook into each other's telepathic thoughts, which we've always been, but we have not been conscious of it. And so we developed a system, the internet, and cable television, all these different things that are very good, actually, and very helpful, but they are confusing us right now, and we don't know what to make of it. Things are instantaneous. I was just thinking about this a couple days ago, that back when I was growing up in the 1960s, if somebody committed a crime, even a simple crime in the neighborhood or something, the police would come eventually and whatever. These days, 5 minutes later, you'd have the television news helicopters, and the vans would roll up, and you'd pretty much be on television very quickly, on the radio, on the internet, whatever. And so things are happening very quickly. And so we need to get used to it, and we will get used to it.
But are these the negative forces that are working behind using modern technology in an attempt to take over our physical beings and take over the spiritual world and the physical world? No,
not really.
No,
I think they're out there. We have demonic spirits are essentially the counterpart of angels, which are advanced spirits. They've been around for a long time, Rob. Mm-hmm. And so demonic spirits would be essentially bad angels. There are negative emotional energies. What is more common is negative spirits, meaning people who are dead and are negative and continue to do negative things. And so they'll do anything they can to get involved in trying to break down our world and make things a more negative place. But I don't really see that as succeeding.
Well, Jeffrey, how common are negative and demonic spirits?
Actually, they're very common, Rob. They're negative. If you think about living people, you could say that maybe, roughly, generally, 80% are probably very nice and 20% are not. Same is true of spirits. 80% of the spirits are very great, people who are now deceased, and 20% are not. They're criminal spirits, and they're doing the same things now as they were doing in their physical life. And so there are a lot of them around. You figure 20% of the human race, 20% of people who are dead, that's a lot of people. We're talking millions, really, of negative spirits that are around. Usually they attack emotionally in order to amplify our negative feelings, and that's really easy to do because we can't see them and they can see us.
So just how do these demonic spirits get into our homes, businesses, and our body's energy then?
Right through the walls.
Right through the walls.
Negative spirits are not really susceptible to anything physical, and so they can go from point A to point B, so, say from Los Angeles to Paris in the blink of an eye. And they can go from one house to another one. And you brought up a really good point, because one of the things that negative spirits do, and I have found in my work, is they go from home to home, say during the night, and make people's lives miserable, or try to amplify arguments between significant others. And so they're around, and so they can go from one house and see if they can amplify some anger, and then move on to the next house, and this is what they do. So it's very easy for them to carry that out, since they're not adherent at all to the physical realm.
So would a home that is harmonious, there's love, there's camaraderie, be a harder target for negative or demonic spirits compared to a home where there's alcoholism, where there's negativity, where there's turmoil, where there's problems?
Yes. Love and kindness and compassion are certainly things that confound negative spirits in many, many ways. And homes where there are problems, which are a good percentage of our homes, are a great place for them to work, and all they really have to do is come close to us. So how does the mechanism work? Essentially, they come close to us and generate huge amounts of rage, and that rage amplifies our anger, even if our anger is somewhat temporary and immediate. If we're having an argument with somebody or thinking in a negative way about ourselves, their anger and rage actually permeates our natural defenses, which some people call the aura. The aura is not just a bunch of pretty lights, but actually, or a signature of our spirit, but actually is a force field, our first line of defense against negative emotional energy, which is something that everyone generates, good people and bad people, and also spirits. That non-physical part of us is what generates negative emotional energy. Negative spirits generate huge amounts of that, and we pick that up if we're not defending ourselves, and most people don't. We can pick that up very easily and become enraged, and we're not even sure why. So if we're having an argument with somebody and it gets out of hand, it is possible that there's a negative spirit involved that is close to us in our homes, near our physical bodies, kind of like sharks underneath the water, and they will generate anger to amplify our negative feelings and get us to do things that we would not normally do and act in ways that we would not normally act.
So basically, it's like the electromagnetic field that surrounds planet Earth and protects us from solar radiation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Very true. That is our aura, and most people's auras have weak spots and are not functioning as well as they could. Spirits who can see not only the non-physical universe, but also the physical universe, so they have a bit of an edge in that way, can see weak spots in our defenses, weak spots in our aura, and they know just where to pinpoint and throw energy at, kind of like a laser beam, and that reaches, permeates inside of our system and amplifies our feelings. Good spirits would amplify us in a positive way. Negative spirits would amplify our emotions in a negative way, in a very, very negative way.
Jeffrey, you've been doing this for 23 years. Just how do you get rid of the negative spirit, of the demonic spirit that has invaded somebody's property or even their person?
It's pretty much all science. Religion and spirituality does play a part in this, and a very important part, and so not knocking any of that down, but this is science, and just like we have physical science, Rob, we have non-physical science, and there's things that we can do that will have an effect upon negative spirits. And so I teach people how to create different kinds of fields, forces, and devices that are actually very easy to do that have an effect upon non-physical energy. And spirits are non-physical energies. There's not a lot of difference between living people and spirits. Really, the biggest difference being that spirits do not have a physical body, although they do create form out of visualization, which is important because, as you know, most people do not report seeing naked spirits. They actually, when people report seeing spirits to me or to, people who care, usually they have clothes on. It might be something from this century or from 2 centuries ago, but they have clothing on, and that's kind of unique. Why would they need clothing? They don't have any sexual organs. They have no innards whatsoever. They don't need an oxygen-based system. So what are they doing? They're essentially generating, through visualization, clothing which is made out of energy. And they are made out of energy too. So essentially what I'm saying is that our personalities can never be destroyed. They are naturally held together by science. And what we need to do is learn this science and learn techniques that are actually very, as I said, very easy to do, that will have an effect upon weakening a negative spirit's resolve by weakening their energy systems greatly, and that's actually rather easy to do, but most people don't even know how to do it or bother to do it. Some people don't believe in it. I understand these things. And so we have to do these things in order to protect ourselves, and we do. If we don't, then it's pretty much open season on our energy field. So we need to learn how to protect ourselves.
Is there a difference between a spirit and a ghost?
Yes, actually there is, although sometimes the terminology gets lost together. A spirit is something that is happening right now. It is a entity that was alive at one point. They're very much like us. So if you want to know what a spirit is, essentially it's us without a physical body.
Gotcha.
That's it. And so negative spirits and physical spirits, physical people, we've been going through this for so long that essentially we have to understand that they are here to destroy, much like angry people do. And I think I got that answer right.
Yeah, I think so too. So, do the good spirits fight the bad spirits? Are they the angels and the devils? Is this part of the binary law of the universe? Up, down, left, right, in, out, white, black?
Certainly is. Positive spirits. There are positive spirits out there that do nothing but attack negative spirits because we are going through some great changes right now. The human race is becoming more psychic, more perceptive. Psychic ability is perception itself. And so as we become more perceptive, we're able to pick up on spirits a little bit more easy. We're beginning to learn how these systems work. Negative spirits of varying kinds, meaning demonic spirits or just negative spirits, have a great interest in us not finding out what they are and how easy it is for us to actually push them away if we know how to do it. Since we can't see them, we have to use different kinds of techniques. There are people who do see spirits sometimes. I do as well. But for the most part, we don't know when they're there, and so we need to always have our protection up, kind of like putting on some kind of mosquito repellent or something like that, because we don't know when they're going to attack and we can't see them, but we can be pretty well certain that they're out there.
How would a person listening tonight protect themselves from these negative spirits?
First thing to do is to understand that science is just as active on the non-physical level as the physical level. So I have no problems with physical science. There's no argument between me and a physical scientist who believes in physical reality and all the laws that we have. There are also laws, Rob, on the non-physical level. And so if we learn how to do that, and let me give you an example. On the other side, part of the ingredients of the non-physical level is an energy that can be transformed or transmuted into anything non-physical that we want it to be. And I teach people how to do that through visualization. And so a very quick example that if I teach a person how to create a sword that will have no effect upon a physical person because it's not physical, but if a person gives that sword a command, which does have an effect on a non-physical level, that says, if this sword comes into contact with a negative spirit, that negative spirit will react in a negative way and its power will be diminished. And so someone might say, well, how does that work? Well, the idea is that the sword itself, through the power of visualization, actually turns into a weapon that we can use against spirits. So everything that I teach is non-physical. Everything that we need to worry about is also non-physical. And we're not talking about here about physical criminals or physical diseases or problems, but spirits are non-physical, and they have to pay attention and obey laws as well. They would rather not have us know that, but if we create devices, and I teach people how to create a multi-layered protection system then they're going to have to go through that, and it also can have a serious effect upon their ability to make people feel bad and generate negative emotional energy. If a spirit wants to go from, say, one place to another,
right,
it practices the art of visualization. Visualization doesn't work that way on a physical level. We can't, visualize going from Los Angeles to Paris and make it happen. We have to get it on an airplane, but not a spirit. And so the power of visualization, of thinking about something and creating something non-physical, is very, very different on the other side. It's a science. On this side, visualization works to a certain degree on certain things, but on the other side, it's essentially a tool that spirits use, and each of us is also a spirit. So we have that going on inside of us as well. It's active. It's not something we become when we die. It's not a light inside of us. Our soul is not a little battery inside of us. It is who we are. I know that sometimes when my clients ask me about how to find their soul, I say, look, just go into the restroom, take a look in the mirror, take a look in your eyes, and you will see your soul.
Well, I've heard the expression that the eyes are the windows to the soul, so there is a definite connection between the eyes and the soul.
Yes, exactly. Our personalities are part of our soul. Our emotional systems are also part of our soul. And our soul is held together naturally by non-physical laws and cannot be destroyed in any way. So we're safe that way, and we need to act upon that and not worry about somehow that we're all going to fall apart when we die or turn to dust or all of these things. I know that some philosophies and religions do believe that, but most people who are interested in metaphysical concepts and thoughts at least entertain the idea that we live after we die, essentially.
So what really does happen when we die? At the moment of death, do we cross over and life continues in another dimension, another plateau, except without a body?
In my first book, I talk, which is Power Protection, I talk about experiences that I've had personally in Chapter 1. And I've had these memories of essentially dying and the knowledge of what happens when we die. I did not initiate those things, and those things, Rob, did not happen during any kind of sessions. My own spirit guides initiated those events. What happens is nothing. And to give a different example very quickly, if you take a look at and study out-of-body experiences, say when people are in hospitals and they die for 5 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever, almost all stories are the same. They're right there, they're floating above their body, they might see a light, they may not, which is really a beacon, and another story, but that they're trying to tell people down there, the doctors working on them, hey, I'm here, I'm fine, I feel fine. Well, when I have had these memories of dying, what I found was that I felt exactly the same as I did when I was alive, meaning that nothing had changed, and if I did not see my body lying there, I would not know that I was dead. So that's how much of a difference there is, that there is no difference. Until a person who is passed on kind of gets used to being deceased and their perceptions grow and they start to remember every little thing that they did when they were alive, memories of past lives come back, also a different story. Perceptions change, perceptions grow. When a person dies, if a person has an innate understanding of some of these things, these perceptions will change quicker. Because one of the things that happened to me, I've done the kind of work that I do as an exorcist in other lifetimes, and I have memories of it, not full lifetimes, but memories of doing this kind of work. That a person they have their perceptions come back to them much quicker. And so when they die, it's kind of like, I know my first thought a couple times, and I look back after remembering dying, was that, wow, I'm dead. I know that I'm dead. I felt this way before, and it really is no big deal. Sure, there's loss, physical loss. We have loved ones and everything like that, but we don't lose any of our personality, and our personality remains the same. I can't think of anything that anybody would really want more than that, is to remain Rob or remain Jeffrey or, the person that we were, and not perish and not turn into something else or become part of the greater sun or some of these really interesting philosophies. We really do remain the same. We don't change very much. We just become more perceptive. Some people have problems. They have problems due to their philosophies of life. Some people have had diseases of the brain or physical problems such as Alzheimer's, where it takes a little bit of time to adjust to being on the other side. Alzheimer's is a physical disease. Yes, it goes away when a person dies, but we're so used to being kind of out of it that sometimes it takes a little while to get our senses back.
So what about these religious philosophies? What about heaven? What about hell? Is there someone or family members that meet us when we cross to the other side, or is this all a way to try and ease the burden of death that we've been taught over the years?
Good question. If a person dies, they very often they come into contact with other spirits. Sometimes it's family members. Sometimes it's people we don't remember that are simply our spirit guides and try to show us the way, meaning that we need to move away from the physical world at some point. What people mean when they see the light, and some people might disagree with me on this one, but this is what I think, and the light, the beacon that people see is really a directional beacon that says move away from the physical world and go to the place where spirits live. Lots of spirits out there, and they have their own whole universe where they live and create things and do things. Nobody is pacing the streets of gold back and forth. None of that really sounds right. And I don't mean to cut down anyone's religion. If you look at my website, you'll see that I'm very pro-religion and pro-philosophy I don't claim to know everything, but I do have my opinions. Sure. And, but people need to at least think about what they're going to do when they die, not to make plans, but to think about it logically. What's the point of streets of gold, and what are you going to do, walk back and forth? Are you going to sing songs? What happens if you can't sing like me? I'm in an awful lot of trouble. I'm going to get the shoot for sure. The lever's going to be pulled on me because I can't sing. And so I do believe that there is a heaven and a hell. I think it's a matter of levels. I also think that there are levels of heaven. Meaning that when a person dies, that they don't know everything and all information does not become available to them, and they're not necessarily able to see everything in all levels. I think it's something that kind of comes along with experience through many, many lifetimes.
So what about reincarnation?
I think it's a natural. People need to find out what it's like to be a person from different perspectives, what it's like to be a female or a male, a mother, father, all of these different things. We need to have these experiences. And people ask me quite often, Jeffrey, why don't we remember these things? Why don't we remember all of our past lives?
Yeah.
I think there's a reason for it. I don't think there's a law that says that we can't see parts of our past lives, but let's just say that we were a very bad person in a past life or very last life, a murderer or something.
Okay.
If we came into this life as and with a full knowledge of what we did, and it would just eat at us the whole life, Rob, our whole life. You know, that we'd never get anywhere because in the back of our minds we'd always remember that we did some really, really bad things in, 1850 or 1950 or whatever. And so I think that there are reasons why we forget, or I should say not remember, some of the things that we've done in the past. Sometimes these things come back to us naturally. Sometimes they can come back through different kinds of therapy. Also, our spirit guides who are looking out for us, who most of us don't even know. They're not necessarily family members, but just kind of like higher spirits that are looking out for us. Also put into play some memories because we very often need some of the lessons that we didn't learn in our past lives that we need to learn now. Say if we had a drug or alcohol problem, that we might have an inherent need to deal with that. I have always felt, when I was in the service, I was stationed out in Las Vegas. I was in the Air Force. And I also lived in Las Vegas. But I don't gamble. I mean, I might spend $10 once here and there once in a while, but I've always had an aversion for gambling, and I've always been real suspicious because I had no experience with it. And it's not because of that. And it's not because of anything that I learned. I just had this weird feeling that, you know what, Jeffrey, don't do it. It's not good for you. Well, I don't know what it's really about, Rob, but I think that my suspicion is telling me that I probably had a problem with it in a past life.
Right.
And so it's sort of coming up in my consciousness saying, Jeffrey, don't do it because you're going to lose everything.
Again.
You're not going to win.
Jeffrey, you and I have to take a short commercial break. Please stand by. Exonation. Jeffrey SEELMAN is our special guest. www.starclear.com. You're listening to the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, live and around the world on the Starcom Radio Network. Don't go away.
With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.matstein.com. Are you considering calling a psychic to read your situation? Then consider David Champion, a psychic medium for more than 20 years with thousands of readings under his belt. David Champion will make you feel comfortable. He has proven to be honest and accurate. He's a straight shooter. There's no guesswork. What he sees is what you get. While he is a medium, most of the calls focus on relationships, not only love, but work, school, neighbors, and more. Need help with finding a job and preparing for the interview? Are you dealing with people who are obstacles in your path? For more information, go to davidchampion.com, $1.50 per minute paid by credit card with a minimum of 30 minutes. For your reading with David Champion, call 1-877-702-8598. That's 1-877-702-8598.
exhausted all traditional means of healing without success? Are you experiencing communications through ghosts, angels, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services to humanity at this time through consultations. These consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you desire clarity of what may appear to be unexplainable phenomenon, then contact me through my website at aguidinglight, spelled LITE.com, to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
The Alien Cosmic Expo will be held in Brantford, Ontario, June 26, 27, 28, and will feature 24 internationally acclaimed experts and researchers of UFOs, crop circles, alien abductions, and much more in this 3-day 2015 summer Canadian event. Experts in the field of extraterrestrials and alien encounters, out-of-body experiences, past life regression, soul reading, psychic, and mediumship will all be presented with professionalism, integrity, and credibility, making the Alien Cosmic Expo the largest event of its kind in Canada for 2015. The exhibitor hall will feature a spectacular lineup of gifted mediums, psychics, astrologers, channelers, aura photography, healers, as well as books, DVDs, alternative health products, crystals, jewelry, and much more, completing the venue with something for everyone. For all information and to purchase your tickets for the Alien Cosmic Expo, go to www.aliencosmicexpo.com. That's www.aliencosmicexpo.com.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Belinda, and you're listening to my dad, Ron McConnell, on the X-Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X-Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and around the world on the Starcom radio network. Don't forget, my buddy Ed Till has his show Monday through Friday, starting at 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. on Starcom radio, like you've never heard it. Once you go there, listen to Ed Till, you're going to be hooked. And then we are here, the X-Zone, Monday through Friday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, also on the Starcom radio network. Jeffrey SEELMAN is my special guest. His website is starclear.com. We're talking about, well, let's see, we've talked about clearing, we've talked about cleansing, we've talked about exorcisms. He's a professional psychic, a teacher, an author. But, Jeff, I understand now that you're splitting your day up in half clearings and half teachings, as well as exorcism. What are you teaching?
I teach people how to protect themselves from negative emotional energies, which also include negative spirits or demonic spirits. But what I have found, I'm 55 now, and I won't be around forever, and I do teach people something about how to clear. It's one of my courses, but I teach people how to get through business meetings. Everybody generates emotional energy, and emotional energy that people generate, anger in the office, the workplace, at home, that can be just as troublesome and problematic as an attack by a negative spirit. We don't, negative spirits and people, we all give off emotional energy, some good, some bad. So I think that it's very important that people learn how to protect themselves. I kind of designed some of that stuff back around 2005, 2006. And I was recommending it to my clients who I thought might need to learn how to protect themselves. And then I realized that most of my clients did, that they really weren't doing anything to stop emotional energy from permeating, from coming into their energy fields. So if we're at work, if we're in the workplace and somebody's angry around us, we don't always know it. And they're generating energy, a real energy. Negative emotional energies are real energies. Anger is a real energy. We can't see it, but we can feel it. Most people can at least say honestly that they felt anger, that they felt other anger coming off of other people, or environments that don't feel right. And what they're picking up on is emotional energy. And so I'm trying to devote a good portion of my time, at least half my day, to teaching people what they can do when they go into the workplace, what they can do at home that is non-threatening towards other people, but a way to protect themselves from negative emotional energy, so when they leave work after the day is done, or they're at home, that negative emotional energy is not going to get into their energy fields and amplify their emotional energy systems. It's kind of like road rage, for those of you who have heard that term.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's amazing how many of us are in the car. We're all nice people, right? And all of a sudden somebody cuts us off, and we turn into mad killers. We actually want to kill these people. For what? We're not even, we don't even step on ants. What are we talking about here? What's happening is sort of a lightning rod effect. When emotional energy comes from another source, or there's some kind of interaction, it gets into our emotional energy fields and activates emotional energy that's already in our system. Our body naturally stores emotional energy. It shouldn't be storing the negative stuff. It should only be storing the positive. I teach people how to release negative emotional energy naturally as well. But we need to learn how to release it, because if we store it up, it is kind of like a charge that can be activated by people or spirits or environments that we come into contact with. So if we come into a place, a restaurant or a school or a workplace that might have had people there for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, that's an awful lot of emotional energy buildup. And the very environment can actually permeate into our system, get into our system, and activate our angers and our fears, and we can come out of there feeling kind of negative. I think just about everybody has a story of going into an environment, into a restaurant, home, apartment, someplace, workplace, and saying, wow, this place feels negative.
Yeah.
Picking up on negative emotional energy, and that can actually affect them as well. And so they can pick that up and bring that home with them. And also negative spirits. They also look for people, kind of like predators, parasites, and they can also follow us home, and they do, which is why I try to warn in a friendly way, because we're all on the same side, ghost hunters, to be very, very careful about provoking spirits, because it's not necessary to prove the existence of a spirit by provoking a spirit to anger. Say, like going into an old prison and say, if you're here, do something, pinch me, bite me, scratch me, push me down the stairs. They may wait. They may decide to wait until you go home and attack your family. That is something I've heard all too often in my work. And so sometimes I give talks about it as well, to ghost hunters. Be very, very careful. Put up your protection. Never provoke spirits. Never provoke. Just like you don't provoke people. We don't provoke people. We don't provoke spirits. And so when I see the shows where people are going into prisons, places like that, or where really negative things have happened, these are tragic. and tragic places where people really suffered. If anybody's looked at the history of prisons, people were abused. Prisoners were abused for centuries. They didn't deserve what they got. So, we used to be chained down when they slept. They were chained down, and nobody deserves that, And so these are really, very negative places, and they should be cleared. And so ghost hunters, what I say to ghost hunters is, why not look for positive spirits? Why look for negative spirits or unhappy spirits? And it's also not necessary to go into haunted environments or environments that are known to be haunted. We can go into a park on a sunny Sunday afternoon and get just as good of transmission or telepathy, information, connection from our spirit guides as we can if we go into a graveyard. What would positive spirits be doing in a graveyard? What would we be doing in a graveyard?
That's true. That's true. And I don't understand why they call them ghost hunters, because when you hunt something, you track it to kill it, and they're already dead.
Yeah, it's a dangerous occupation, usually performed by very well-meaning people. I know an awful lot of ghost hunters, and they're trying to prove the existence of spirits. Mm-hmm. And there are other ways to do that. It's not necessary to put themselves in positions where that they're in danger, or even worse, there is no law that says that a spirit that is negative cannot follow you home and attack your children. Yeah. Negative spirits, and I don't mean to scare anybody out there, but this is just the way it is. Really negative spirits, just like really bad criminals, attack people who cannot defend themselves. So they don't play fair. They're not just going to go after the ghost hunter. Very often they go after their family, including children. And so I kind of warn them, that just be careful, that there are other ways of dealing with this. I think they're on the right track, though. I'm pretty happy with, eventually they're going to have some kind of communication machine where we're able to talk with our loved ones on the other side. Right now, it's very, very iffy. Not a lot is really coming through. Some people will say differently, but I haven't seen a lot of evidence. And when that day comes, that our great telecommunications companies will get involved in that, and talking to the other side and talking to our dead grandmother is going to be about, 50 cents a minute. So
At least.
At least.
Listen, our time is nearly up for tonight. First of all, Jeffrey, great talking to you. Congratulations on all the things that you're doing. Exonation Jeffrey Seelman's website is starclear.com. What is your message for the Exo Nation listening to you around the world right now?
Think positive. I know it seems that there's a lot of negativity happening around the world, but actually, if you take a look at the statistics, there's actually less violence. We're going through a lot of changes right now, and we're thinking about how there are lunatics everywhere and terrorists everywhere. Not true. Most people don't like terrorists. Most people don't like mad killers. And so I think people are really, beginning to grow up, and we're beginning to come together. So think about the positive aspects of all of this, and also think about positive spirits, and don't focus upon the negative ones. Negative spirits are a sliver of all the spirits that exist. Most spirits are good. Like people, most people are good.
Hey, Jeff, thanks very much for coming on the show tonight. A great pleasure, and I look forward to the next time you join us back here in the X Zone. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks for having me on the show.
Have a wonderful night, sir. Exonation, Jeffrey Seelman has been my special guest of this hour, www.starclear.com. When I come back from the top of the hour and Astrology with BB Fuffy, I'll be joined by Corey Kay, my old producer from another network who does the X Zone Tech Zone. We're going to be talking about the latest hack that happened today and much more. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us live and around the world on the Starcom Radio Network. Don't go away.